will need to be communicated out. And then in the exhibit association meeting last night, go ahead, Josh.
We're also going to have mini day camp. I'm coordinating with the Lions whether that will be in August or September. But instead of it being a weekday like it has been, it'll be a Saturday from like 10 to 2. So I will get you guys a date on that as well.
And as many of you probably have figured that out already, a couple of things we're talking about are post-fair opportunities. And maybe you've asked the question, how do those fit in with this year's club completion? And the answer is we have the latitude to delay club or the completion until September 1st or 30th. 30th. So the end of September. Instead of having to turn your books in on the end of the fair this year, you're going to get a couple extra months to get some of these volunteer activities completed. So did everybody understand me? Okay. And then with other people in the club, let them know. I'm sure that'll be in a communication here from the office, but September 30th.
I'm recording the meeting. I'm going to send that recording out to the whole group because we had some people that had told me they couldn't be here, so they asked for a recording.
Okay. I also offered your services, and it'll be on a voluntary basis. The Lions Club is having a little bit of a issue with getting enough volunteers to do services that they normally do pre-fair and post-fair. So there may be some opportunities anytime that you would show up and help the Lions with their part of setup and tear down for the fair. You could also count that as a volunteer activity. Whether we get some feedback from them and get some dates out to you, that's yet to be seen. But that should, if we do hear dates from them for specific things, we'll get those flowed out to you guys, okay? So that's your part of the meeting, Jolie. Is that all right? Okay. I think we've got Elkins. Elkins, do you want to talk about the concession stand?
I know that this year we were planning on having a more limited menu. We were closing the indoor of the Coke stand and keeping it basically more concentrated. I know that upcoming now we're trying to see if we can get a small group together to help Keith with making the meat sauce for the nachos and hot dogs. I believe it was, Keith, you can help me if I get this wrong, but I believe we were mostly reducing our menu. We were thinking about, I think it was removing pork burgers and ribeyes, and then I think potentially adding some breakfast items and then shifting the hours from 8 a.m. about lunch, where there would be a short break after lunch and then some afternoon sales. I don't remember much.
Yeah, and then the show schedule has people coming back for shows starting about 4. So we would want to consider covering that evening shift as well. Nathan, Daniel. So maybe like a 3:30 to 8.
Which, once we get that set in stone, I can put together the sign-up genius for you guys.
Where is the sign-up?
It's not gone out yet, Travis.
So we had a advisors meeting last week. One thing that we discussed and think would be advisable this year is that we not have a Saturday shift. I don't believe the Lions, they typically real highly encourage us to have Saturday, but with all of the restrictions, they're going to forego that this year. Do you guys want to try to do Saturday, or is that something that you guys are okay with passing on this year?
If there's not necessarily a need for us to do it, I don't think necessarily need to put the shifts out there. It might be understaffed.
Well, one of the things we talked about is there's going to be less people per shift anyway because of the way that you guys are going to have to run the stand. So I don't think we're going to be understaffed at any point this year. It may actually be a little easier to staff well this year than it's been in the past.
Yeah, there's going to be a limit this year by square footage. I think the most we can fit in that area, including the outside grill area, the maximum we can do is 4. We could even run it fairly well with 3, if that's what was available. So Nathaniel threw out the idea of cutting back the menu. Does anybody have any ideas on that? You understand what he said about was on the menu and maybe what wasn't? Is there any discussion about what should be or shouldn't be?
Talkative group tonight.
Very. Yeah. Is everybody looking forward to the fair?
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure. It would be understandable if some people were a little apprehensive about it too. I know we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a little different, but it's going to be an opportunity to get out and still be part of a community and do some community things as long as we do them safely. So from the advisors meeting the other night, let me clarify what Nathaniel said a while ago. As far as breakfast, we were talking about doing coffee, water, and donuts. Of course, anything else as far as the bag goodies that we might have there would be readily available and for sale as well. Sometime in the mid to late morning, we would kick over to start including nachos and hot dogs and coney sauce on either one of those as a lunch item. From you guys give me input on what time we should kick over, but sometime mid-morning to just afternoon and catch the lunch crowd. We would then shut the building down and have an evening shift of nachos, hot dogs, Cokes, chips, and from approximately 4 to 8 p.m. Somewhere in there, and that would be another shift. So you'd have maybe 2 shifts in the morning, maybe an 8 to 11, 11 to 1. I would think that'd be maybe a little long to do if you tried to do 8 to 1 as one shift, but what do you guys think?
I work the whole time anyway, so I don't mind.
Get closer to the mic there, Nathaniel.
I think it could work either way because I know I personally would work the whole time, but I know 3-hour shifts is generally the maximum people.
For those of you guys that do animals, does it make it easier if it's split like that? You could work either morning or afternoon instead of trying to do that midday shift?
I think either works for us.
It doesn't particularly hurt or help.
I'm not getting a feeling of any kind of consensus here. yeah, for those of you that don't do animals or, if you're doing animals that day, hopefully you wouldn't sign up for that day for the shift. Once you got there in the morning, is it just worth staying there instead of doing a split shift? And then do you want to do 8 o'clock or do you want to do earlier? I think check-ins starting at 5 or 6 every morning, right, Josh?
Yeah, the cattle, sheep, and goats. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's 6 to 8. Thursday and Friday is 5:30 to 8.
So if you wanted to do a split shift, you could even bump that up a little bit, maybe do a 7 to 10 and 10 to 1. Whatever you guys think. If you wanted to do one shift, then you'd start a little later and end at just after lunchtime.
I think doing the 7 to 10 would work well. That way people could could eat before they show if they showed early in the morning.
So Taylor, do you mean 7 to 10 and 10 to 1? So we'd have 3 shifts each day?
Yeah.
Okay, of
So
all of
how
you, of all of the junior leaders, who would actually want to be there at 7 o'clock in the morning? That's what I'm kind of curious about.
I could.
Raise your hand. Yeah.
Okay.
Of those here, that's more than half. So
The nice thing about that morning shift, Keith, is that the shows don't actually start until 10:30. So if a kid was showing that day, but not until later in the day, they could get there, get checked in early, and then be able to work their shift before they actually had to show.
I understand.
and for that morning shift, we definitely don't need 4.
17.
2 to 3 would 17.
17 at every morning shift.
Let's go.
Yeah, I mean you're really looking at drinks and donuts, and the donuts are pretty much self-serve. So, and maybe a little bit of prep for the lunch. At the transition, maybe a little bit of prep for the lunch crew. So, that's 5 days. That's 15 people coming in max at 7 in the morning. Any other discussion about that? Do you guys want to make a decision?
I'm not sure at the moment.
Nathaniel, technically it's your committee.
I would technically be willing to just say let's meet that early, because I don't think it does any harm to have more time for people to get their shifts in.
You kind of broke up on my end, but do you want to take an official poll or a vote, or do you just want to make it so one way or the other?
I'd like to take an official vote now if we can, yeah.
So you want to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion.
I'll second that emotion.
I didn't catch who seconded it, but
Jolie did. And as part of that motion, you want 2 people in the morning, 4 during lunchtime, and 3 in the evening, or what do you want?
I would think you'd want 4 in the evening, because that's generally when it's busiest. But the other numbers I'm not here.
So I would say you might want a little more discussion, only because we don't have major animal shows in the evening. Monday is the rabbit show, Tuesday is the poultry show, and Wednesday is the llama show. So it's not like a normal year where we have supreme showmanship, sheep and goats at night.
All right. Then yeah, the 3 people in the afternoon would do it, I think.
Anybody else have any other thoughts on that?
So
I
you
think
want,
me and Anna will only be able to work at night because we'll be busy all day.
so you're saying 2 people in the morning, 4 in the second shift, and then 3 at the night shift.
Correct.
And of course, there's going to be an adult advisor there at all times also.
Correct.
How about day chairman?
I would assume you'd still have a day chairman, yeah.
But your committee,
Yes, then I would say day chairman every day. I just assume that
okay,
would
how
be-
do you, all right, we can talk about that in a moment, but just a food for thought. So is there any other discussion? Jolie, ask if there's any other discussion. I don't think she
Just
heard.
for a little louder.
All right. Jolie, if there's no other discussion, call for a vote.
Okay, all those who agree with the motion to have 2 people in the morning shift, 4 people in the afternoon shift, and then 3 people in the evening shift, please raise your hand.
Hey, Emily, can you tell us out loud what you vote?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. I don't
You're
think I have
unanimous.
anybody opposed. Yep. Okay, so that's passed. All right. What is the next thing of business?
You made my finger turn purple.
Well, I had brought it up not as a piece of business, but in addition to that, not that it needs a motion, but Elkins, you need to figure out how you want to do your day chairman, and we can talk about that. Advisor to committee if you want. We can either pick people or figure out whatever method. So why don't you and I and Keith and Kelly talk about that maybe next week? Would that be all right?
Yeah, that'd work for me.
Okay. So another thing that has to do with the Coke stand is we're going to have to organize some cleaning. Keith and I stopped by tonight to drop off some stuff into the freezer. And the refrigerator got unplugged or shut off last year like it should. The doors, however, got shut instead of being left propped open. So it's pretty nasty. So we're going to need a crew of 3 or so people. It doesn't have to be the same 3. We're going to need a crew of 3 or so people, maybe twice between now and the opening of the fair to go in there and do different things. I don't have any particular dates in mind. Elkins, ensure the concession stand or Coke stand committee. Are there any days that work better for you to lead that than others?
Do we need it done before pre-fair or could we do it during pre-fair?
I don't see why not.
I mean, I know if there are quite a few days we're going to be there anyway, we can just do it while we're there.
The only drawback you have there is people like me who work, who might be able to help me and Keith. We couldn't be there during the day. We'd have to do it during the evening.
Judging doesn't look like it has in the past either. So there's not going to be a day where everybody's out there together or anything else. So I would encourage you guys to look at that schedule because it's a lot different than what it's been in years past.
Okay. So Nathaniel, I keep losing you off the bottom of the screen. Why don't you look at your calendar, look at the pre-fair schedule calendar, and pick what you think are maybe a couple, 2 or 3 days that would work for you in the evenings off of that. Share those with the advisors, and we'll get those to Josh and see if we can get a sign-up list for cleaning crews in addition to the stand shifts. Can we do that, Josh? Does that sound fair? All right.
I think our connection's cutting out quite a bit.
Either that or you guys put me at a sleep, one of the two.
My thing keeps crashing, so I'm gonna go.
Okay, bye, Travis.
Thank you.
Katie. Thanks, Travis. See ya. Katie, snack committee. I haven't been getting my snacks via the mail. I gotta
Sorry about
complain.
that.
Obviously, there's not much to do there. Sorry about
Nope.
that, but it's
okay.
the way that's went this year. Ashland, recreation. We doing exercises. So I have a suggestion, Ashland. And this is going forward. I know we've all taken a break and it's been a weird schedule. And since we're running this through the end of September, I know occasionally the extension office has some stuff that comes out of there, but see if you can, if you come across things like health tips or, things to do to stay healthy during the summer, reasons you should walk 15 miles a day uphill both ways, that kind of thing. Benefits of losing 10, 20, 15 pounds for us older people. Work with the office. If you see those things, or your group, your committee, you might want to try to get them to look out for things like that. Flow those back into Josh and Josh's office and see if they're worth putting out to everybody. We can't get together and do them together, but at least it's a way of doing that remotely. That's one idea. So
Do you know who all is on the recreational committee?
it's in some chicken scratch notes somewhere. I will find out. I don't tonight. I will have to read through. When I find out who, if I have their contact information, I will forward that to you. If I don't, I'll have to send it to Josh to add a number to a name, and he'll be sending that on to you, okay? And Volunteer Action Committee, this back to Jolie. We talked about some of that. Completion trip. This has been a crazy year. Who has thought anything about a completion trip? The last I remember having conversations about this was the earlier the better after the fair. I don't think that works now.
There is no Hey, Danny. There is no university-sponsored travel through the end of October. So we could do something, but it would have to be one day and local.
Yeah. So local as in Keith's
Within
favorite
this-
canoe trip?
Yes, as in within Indiana, and as in socially distancing acceptable and those kind of things. Like out of state, I have to run through campus. Like if we're going to take a 4-H group out of state, and they will automatically say no.
Okay. So I don't remember back this spring who was on the completion trip committee. I know that that was going through Abby. I haven't seen Abby on tonight. But if you were involved with that completion trip committee, be thinking of some things that we could do that would fit sometime between now and the end of the fair. And I guess one thing we don't have to worry about now is the state fair, do we, Josh? Because that was a lot of the conversation. We were having to work around the state fair.
The only difference now is all of the state fair animal shows are on Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
So Kelly's, do you guys know when the beef show is? Yeah, you're muted, Ashley.
It's on Saturday and Sunday.
Do you know which weekend? Okay.
I can ask and then have my mom talk to you.
It's all right. I can look it up. I just didn't know if you guys knew off the top of your head. So I can't switch screens because I'm recording, so I can send it out, or else I'd just look it up myself. So I think it's the second weekend, though. I'm pretty sure it's the second full weekend of August. So as long as we can avoid that, we should be okay. I don't know that anybody else is taking swine down or anything else.
So anybody else have commitments for the end of the summer or the beginning of the school year? I don't know how sports are starting back up or what lands there. I'm not in tune with most of that. So
there's an Elkin going to college, I'm pretty sure.
Where are you headed?
New, West Lafayette.
Gonna go annoy your sister?
She'll probably end up annoying me, but yeah.
Hey, make sure you take your face covering. You got to wear it inside every building.
Oh, yeah, I know. Very happy about that.
Hey, I've got one I can share with you as you go over there.
No.
He doesn't want one that smells like vomit, Keith.
It doesn't smell like vomit. I'd make sure it goes to the laundry.
Yeah, it looks like vomit, though.
Okay. It's not green, though.
Josh, have I missed anything that you can think of that we need to, so we've got you enough information to do a sign up for Coke stand shifts?
Yep, I'm still waiting on the building projects committee to see if and when they want help as far as closed judging and open judging. It may be a year where you guys don't get help as much just because of balancing the amount of people inside the building. So we'll naturally waive a little bit of that requirement as far as having help during free fair week. And the general rule of thumb with your manuals is write down what you've done. In a weird year like this, we're not going to sit there and double check every T and dotted I and that kind of stuff. We're looking for what did you guys actually do? What did you get out of the program this year?
Adaptability is what we should get out of the program this year.
And problem solving.
Let me throw, let's throw this back one more, back to the volunteer actions. I'm sorry, I omitted something. The Kiwanis have contacted us, right, Josh? Was that you that told me that? They did not do the preparation at the park this spring. They are still looking at doing that sometime here this summer. So if you were one of the ones, or if anybody in watching on the recording, if you were one of the ones who like to show up and move the mulch around, and that'll be another one if we can get it organized with them for the date and time. So we did not miss that in April. It just did not happen, and we'll catch back up with it. We also had some discussions about helping maybe more around the holidays with some volunteer stuff that goes on at that time. We can leave that for a later date to talk about. But we're starting to get the word out that the junior leaders are a service organization, and we can provide a couple sets of hands here and there. And that fulfills our mission of teaching service leadership to you guys. So.
Hey, Danny, should I
Mhm.
go over with them the Farm Bureau meal that we're doing? Give them a better idea of what's going on with that, or
Sure.
okay? Evidently, Farm Bureau, and you know, as I said earlier, that it is August the 20th. It's a Thursday. They have asked the junior leaders to prepare a meal for their annual meeting. The location is to be determined right now, but she's asked, as I said, the junior leaders to prepare the meal. It's going to be a boxed meal, so it's something simple. Right now, my thought for the meal is something as simple as like maybe a pork burger, applesauce, coleslaw, some chips, a cookie. And what I would need is I would need some volunteers, and I'm thinking maybe at the max 10 people to help put the box meals together. Day of the event, that we would physically hand the meals to the people as they come through. We don't have a number yet, but the original quote for the meal for the annual meeting for them was 30 to 50. And at the last count, the lady said maybe up to 100 meals. They'll come through as a drive-through type of a situation. So if anybody is interested, you know, talk to me at the fair, and you know, we can kind of coordinate and go from there. But I am kind of at a hold on this right now until at least Thursday. She said that she would give me more information after they've got their meeting on Thursday. So it's an awesome opportunity to give back. Farm Bureau does so much for 4-H. It's not funny. They do a scholarship. They provide us with awards at the end of the year. Stuff, you know, there's all kinds of stuff that they do to help 4-H out. So they want to give back to the junior leaders as much as they can with this event.
And we just found out today that they gave us a $500 donation today. They covered all of our hand sanitizer for the fair. They bought 12 gallons of hand sanitizer for us.
Wow. And they
Keith?
are going. Yes.
Keith, I didn't hear you for like the last minute and a half.
Okay. Basically, we're going to prepare a meal for the Farm Bureau, and they are going to pay for this meal to us, to the junior leaders. I've priced things out. And what we're going to do is I just need maybe at the maximum 10 volunteers to help me out. We'll cook pork burgers. We'll stuff box meals. We'll stuff sandwich, chips and stuff like that in the box, and then we'll pass them out to the people as they drive through. But if you are interested, as I said, come you know, talk to me at the fair, and we'll coordinate all this during the fair.
And we'll re-email that opportunity out.
Keith, do you know where this where the meals will be distributed from?
Well, right now they've got 2 different locations that they're discussing, one being at Kokomo Grain and the other being at the fairgrounds.
Okay.
So, you know, the location is to be determined.
Now, since I've been pushing all year to involve the kids a little bit more in the business side of that, do you want to go ahead and I know you said you price things out. Do you want to give just a brief explanation of the costs up front, and then what the return and the yield on that is going to be from Farm Bureau? Okay, well, they Farm Bureau has said that they did not want to pay us anything under $10 for a meal, and they weren't going to pay anything over $20 for a meal. So based on what I have looked up last week, going for the pork burger, the utensils, the containers, ketchup, mustard, a little container barbecue sauce. I mean, I you know, got everything down to a T, and I think the meal can be prepared for about $4.50 to $4.75. And with everything that we're going to do, I'm going to give them a price of about $13.50 a meal. So we're going to make anywhere from $750 if they go with 100 meals.
we're going to go anywhere from $750 to maybe up to $1,000 that we're going to make.
Net, yeah. Yeah, we're gonna, so net of 750 to 1,000.
Yes.
So does
Yeah,
that interest anybody in thinking about how activities go like that? Does that interest you guys to think about how you price things out?
I've got all the little containers, the lids, the individual like box of I took like a box of ketchup that's already prepackaged in little packets of ketchup. I think there was a box of 750 in a box, and I think the box was, and I don't have the price in front of me, but the box was like $8 or something like that. So it was like 4 cents for a little package of ketchup. I'm just throwing that number out there. I don't know exactly, I don't have my figure in front of me right now, but I took the little packet of ketchup, the little packet of mustard, the package of the utensils and everything, and it's going to be about $450, $475 for an entire meal.
So something to think about as you go to plan things out is that you have to catch every little detail. Otherwise, you end up with a bunch of little details that you thought you could overlook, and they actually come back and get you in the end because they add up. And as we go forward, and we kind of started that this year with the Coke stand, as we go forward into next year, I'd like you guys to continue to think that way. As we talk about what items maybe we have next year, as if we get back to a more traditional fair scenario. Is there, Jolie,
Yes.
you want to ask if there is any new business?
Is there any new business? If not, would someone like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Hey, wait a minute before you adjourn. Nathaniel had spoke about we're going to make the hot dog sauce or the meat sauce for the nachos and for the hot dogs. I am in need of help putting this together. A batch will take approximately an hour and a half, give or take, to make a batch. I'd like to try to get some of you to help me make this. Try to get into the community building or the block building there at the fairgrounds sometime, and cut up onions and help brown the meat and watch it cook and stir it as it's simmering and stuff like that. Once again, as I said, it takes about an hour and a half. So if anyone is interested, I'm not seeing a screen of everybody, so I can't see who would be interested and who's not. But if anyone's interested, please let me know. We'll schedule a date and a time, and we'll put together 2 or 3 batches of it so we can have that for the fair time.
Keith, what is the best way to contact you? If we were to tell Josh to send out a little note about that to the entire club, how would you want to be contacted?
Smoke
They
signal.
can email. They can
Smoke
email
signal.
me.
I like that.
You can email me. You can text me. You can call me. Whatever. I'm good with it.
Okay. Josh, can we send out an email to everybody? It's not date and time, but just to contact Keith if you're interested in helping.
Yep, absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you. And I would need, just because of the space there, 3 or 4 people. I don't need a bunch, but 3, 4 at the max.
Any other business that we need to go through? Any new business? Would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
That's Isaac hand.
Isaac, okay.
I'll second
Would
the
someone
motion.
like to second it?
Raise your hand.
Okay, and it's Seth, right? Yeah, okay, Seth, seconds it. All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you for everyone who came.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Look forward to seeing you here in July.